Happy December. What's going on, guys? 5:03 in the early evening hours. It's Monday, December 1st. Week 13 of this NFL regular season comes to a close tonight. The Patriots and Giants will play on Monday Night Football. And, of course, for the Ravens, it is Steelers week. We had to wait until week 14 for the best rivalry in all of sport. Okay, maybe it's arguable, but maybe in football. There's some other really darn good rivalries up there as well. But we know how storied this rivalry is, and we know how important this week is when it comes to AFC North positioning, the AFC playoff picture, so on and so forth. And I'm taking a positive spin today because I heard from former NFL quarterback Cam Newton, former NFL head coach Tony Dungy, on why they both feel like not only is the Ravens' chances of winning the AFC North something that is valid and something that should be talked about, but do not sleep on them becoming a contender over the closing 5 weeks of this season. So we're going to get into those commentaries in just a bit. I tried to close the blinds so that the golden hour sun wouldn't hit me. And as you're seeing, apparently that's not working. So bear with me there. Like the video on your way in. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership today. And throw a vote in the poll, will you? How will the Ravens, should they indeed win the AFC North, how are they going to claim that crown? 4 different options in there for you. If you think it's not one of those 4, let me know in the comment section. Will it be 1, offensive resurgence? 2, the defense continues to carry them into the postseason, into the AFC North? 3, by process of elimination, being that the AFC North, will there be an 8-win team that wins this division? I hope not. 9, I could see 9 wins. I could obviously see 10 wins the division. I think we know that. And 4, all 3 phases unite, and this is a Ravens team that's clicking and peaking at the right time. Leave a vote. So far, 24 plus votes, 38%. Option number 4, all 3 phases unite, leads the way early on. And here is your AFC playoff picture at the moment. By the way, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Preston Automotive Group. I appreciate them for the continued support. Denver at 10-2 would be the top overall seed and earn that first round bye right now. New England, who again plays tonight against the Giants at 10-2, would be the 2 seed. Jacksonville at 8-4 would be the 3 seed. And the Ravens, because of divisional record for the moment, that tiebreaker owned by them, they'd be the 4 seed, and more on what that might present them in just a second before I rip off the rest of this overall picture. I'll show you that in just a second. What the analytics are telling us could be a wild card matchup. What would be the favorite right now? You're going to want to take a look at that. Your wild card teams, all whom are 8-4 right now, would be the Chargers, Colts. Colts are reeling right now. May have just lost Sauce Gardner for the foreseeable future. What's Daniel Jones playing with? A fractured fibula or tibula? What is it? Anyway, Chargers, Colts, Bills, all would be 8-4 as wild cards. And then in the hunt, Houston, perhaps playing better than anybody right now, or as good as anybody, at 7-5. They are surging. The Steelers, the opposite of surging. They're plummeting right now at 6-6. And of course, Kansas City lurking also at 500, 6-6. So that's the way things currently stand, subject to change. And my God, change it will it ever, assuming that this season continues in the balanced effort that we've watched in recent weeks. Seth Walder, analytical mind from ESPN, the most likely wild card round matchup to occur, Bills-Ravens, in a rematch of not only week 1, but the divisional round where we all know, what took place there. 24% chance, that is, that the Ravens and Bills will match up. And could the Ravens end up hosting that wild card round? Oh, what a round it would be. And what a rematch. And perhaps a revenge game from a Ravens perspective that would be. As you take a look at the AFC North, here is the closing 5 weeks for all 3 teams that are still in it. And yes, call me crazy, but the Bengals are still in it with Joe Burrow being back, even with that defense. And I say that defense has taken a different shape in recent weeks, and that includes forcing the Ravens into 5 turnovers. Were some of those self-inflicted? No question. but 5 turnovers is 5 turnovers. As for the Ravens, they will play Pittsburgh twice within this 5-week frame, beginning on Sunday at Baltimore. They'll then go back to playing the Bengals. And when I say back, they obviously just played them at home. So they'll go to Cincinnati in week 15. They'll then host the Patriots in week 16. 2 days after Christmas, they'll go to the frozen Lambeau Field to play the Packers week 17. And then, of course, the regular season finale. Why else? Why wouldn't it be Ravens Steelers, this time in Pittsburgh? That's the closing 5-week stretch from a Ravens perspective. As for the Steelers, leaking oil at the moment. Aaron Rodgers dealing with that small fracture in his left wrist, the non-throwing hand. Well, now, does he have a broken nose? He got absolutely ripped yesterday by Joey Bosa. Boy, he put a licking on him. They struggled mightily. They could not move the ball effectively, and they could not stop the Buffalo run. 259 rushing yards to be exact. If that's a formula for the Ravens, I don't know what wouldn't be. Or if that's not a formula for the Ravens, I don't know what would be going into Sunday. Steelers have the Dolphins in week 15. Miami seems to have found something offensively in recent weeks. They are very much still in this thing. Detroit at Cleveland, and then, of course, the Ravens, regular season finale. That's what's going on for the Steelers down the stretch. And Joe Burrow's Bengals, they will play at Buffalo in week 14. Then they'll host the Ravens, like I mentioned. They'll then go on the road to Miami, and then 2 home games to finish out the regular season against the Cardinals and the Browns. It's an uphill battle, but it is not out of the question whatsoever. So that's where things stand. We're going to get to some injury updates in just a bit related to Nate Wiggins and others. But first, the former Super Bowl champion winning head coach, Tony Dungy, had this to say about the Baltimore Ravens.
AFC North, coach.
Well, I'm going to say Baltimore. Cincinnati's got the best schedule, but they're 2 games back.
Yep.
That's a problem right now. Pittsburgh is playing very bad football. That's a problem for them. Baltimore is not playing all that much better, but I think they have a better schedule, and 8-9 might win this division.
Yeah, and I can't trust the Steelers. And I'm looking at A-Rod, his injury history, and you don't know if he's going to be healthy, his wrist, his nose, all these different things going on. I like the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar, they're going to get back to giving Derrick Henry the football. The temperature and the weather starting to change, so that's going to almost force the offensive coordinator to have to run the ball.
Oh, boy, speaking of running the ball, John Harbaugh was asked about King Henry's usage or lack thereof, specifically in the second quarter on Thanksgiving night.
No, of course not. I mean, that's not the numbers that we want at all, you know. And we want to run the ball. We're a running team, you know. I mean, that's the fact. And we're a throwing team too. We got Lamar Jackson, we got receivers, we got tight ends, we got all that. But we want to always be a team that runs the ball and stops the run. That's been since 2008. You know, it's not going to really probably ever change, and that's really what football is. So, for sure. And when you look at the game, I mean, we went 7 plays down the field and scored. Then we went 3 and out, then we were in 2 minutes. So that explains the lack of carries in the second quarter. We didn't have any plays in the second quarter to have a chance to even run the ball. So then the other part of that is just the number of 2-minute plays was in the game was staggering. I mean, we had 21 2-minute plays. That's way too high. And when you have that many I don't mind 2-minute plays at the end of the half. I'm not real fired up about 2-minute plays at the end of the game. That means you're trying to, come back. And so we had 7 or 8 2-minute plays at the end of the half, and we had, 15 or so at the end of the game because we started 2-minute at the 9:38 mark of the fourth quarter. And that explains the play distribution as much as anything. It explains the carries as much as anything. So the circumstance of the game took us in that direction.
Look, I buy it. I do. In the past, I haven't. I buy it, though, not only from that explanation, but some of the key context as we kind of turn back the page a little bit, rewind to Thanksgiving night after a long holiday weekend. Okay, Derrick had 5 first-half carries. That's not what you want when it comes to the King. That's not how his game goes. He gets better as the game goes. He gets better as you continue to force feed him. There's no doubt. But when your offense turns the football over 3 times, in one half, a questionable, and I shouldn't even say questionable. Matter of fact, how about we call it as it is? A bullshit OPI on Zay Flowers wipes the touchdown. And then you add in uncharacteristic inaccuracy from Lamar Jackson, which led to at least 3 blatant misses with time and clean pockets. That's the context here. There was a lot of context that was needed as you evaluate what the Ravens did and didn't do on Thursday night. Isaiah likely fumbling at the goal line is context that's required. The Zay Flowers OPI is context that's required. And I'll even go deeper. What about the 2 deep balls to Devontae Walker that I wouldn't characterize as drops, but plays that he wants to make and is absolutely capable of making, and certainly we're not on Lamar, are 2 pieces of context that's required. So I get it. You guys are sitting here, and I'm sure hearing John not buying it, not wanting to buy it, perhaps refusing to buy it because of the past disturbing trends that's come with this, abandoning the run, no bigger, none more harming and harmful than the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, and I totally get that. But in this case, the circumstances of the game, to use his words, did dictate ultimately the usage or lack thereof when it comes to Derrick Henry. Back to this national conversation. You hear Tony Dungy. You heard what he had to say in terms of who he likes to win the AFC North. And if you haven't yet voted in the poll, let's get an update in live real-time fashion. 55 votes at the moment. How will the Ravens claim this year's AFC North crown? Now, I've got 4 different options in there for you. It looks like, we got a tie. It's going back and forth right now between offensive resurgence and all 3 phases uniting as one. Right now, we have a deadlocked at 39% between offensive resurgence and all 3 phases unite. At 11%, respectively, each, is the defense continuing to carry the team and by process of elimination, which I know is somewhat of a petty option that I threw in there, but I'm for real. Could it be by process of elimination? Because if things continue in the direction that it appears to be heading, it's going to be a pillow fight when it comes to winning this division. But right now, wow, this is a pretty darn good. Yeah, Dre, I really like a good poll. I do. I like a good poll. That's POLL, by the way, not POLE. Well, let's not even go there. But this is a good little debate being had right now. We got some competition. Make sure you vote. Over 60 votes and counting. Cam Newton, as it relates to the AFC North, here he is.
Unfortunate that we have certain expectations and passes and sweeping this under the rug that we don't have for everybody. All game changers should have the same prerequisite of expectation. Matthew Stafford doesn't have an ideal Matthew Stafford type of game, and then what do we say? Oh, man, that's just a bad game. That was Stephen Anthony's response. Well, for me, has Lamar Jackson been healthy? Who knows? But I don't expect that Lamar Jackson to keep playing the way this Lamar Jackson has been playing the last couple of weeks, okay? Once he figures that out, then the Baltimore Ravens is off. Now, is it ideal? Is it something that we're used to them playing like? No! But to say that they're not a contender? Oh, come on now. We know who Lamar Jackson is. We know what the Baltimore Ravens are. We know who Derrick Henry is. All these, they have the pieces. It's just about performing. And once they decide to perform in unison, playing complementary football in all 3 phases, then we'll have a very clear-cut dynamic in the AFC North.
I love me some Cam Newton. He's one of the chillest dudes I've ever interacted with, as I did at the Super Bowl last year at one of our podcast parties through Blue Wire at the time. They're our distribution network, and Cam used to work with Blue Wire. And I was hanging out with him in New Orleans in a big group setting. He's just the chillest dude. I can't get with him on this. What makes the Ravens right now a deserving recipient that comes with the label of a contender? Is it the potential of their roster? Is it the potential of what we've seen that this roster can yield? The second half in Miami, the first 3 quarters in Buffalo, at times here and there. What is it? Because while the potential is always there when you have Lamar Jackson. Lamar finds himself in maybe the most significant rut of his 8-year NFL career. So it's a legitimate question that I have. And the pushback is, what is it about this team right now that finds itself, no doubt, squarely in the mix for an AFC North crown, squarely in the mix to find its way into the postseason? But what about them and their current makeup at 6-6 makes them a bona fide contender? I'm less receptive to what you've done in the past, whether it's Lamar or this team historically, and I'm more receptive to what have you done for me lately. And right now, this is a Ravens offense that has not done a lot for me lately in terms of its operation, in terms of its ball security, in terms of its pass protection, in terms of its red zone efficiency. I could go on and on and on. And so that's where I'm at. I'm going to open up the guest lines here in just a bit. I hope Joseph Cook continues to do what he's doing in the live chat and come and cook face-to-face, baby. Guest lines are open. Waiting room is available. We'll get to that in just a bit. I have the access link pinned in my live chat. But first, I wanted to get some more thoughts from you guys on where you're at in the poll. Over 70 votes now, and a 3% lead is held by all three phases uniting. And that could very well be the reason why the AFC North crown is taken by the Ravens. Offensive resurgence is at 36% in second position. Process of elimination is 13%. And the defense continuing to carry them is at 10%. Let me know where you're at. Over 70 votes and counting. If you could, like the video on your way in, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or a gift-giving membership today. Let me tell you about Preston Automotive Group. I want to say thank you to Preston for the continued support that they give me. One of my longest-standing sponsors here inside this channel, and the sole reason why I have a whip and wheels on the road. At Preston, Bobby Baltimore subscribers get access to 2 exclusive offers. The first being a $500 credit towards their new or pre-owned vehicle. Or when you buy 4 tires, you'll get 50% off your alignment. They've got over 2,000 vehicles to choose from. Finding your next ride has never been easier. Scan the QR code that you see in the upper right-hand corner right now. That'll take you to PrestonMotor.com. Again, when you shop with Preston, you're joining a trusted team serving Baltimore and beyond. And when you go ahead and start scrolling on my landing page, it'll bring you down to the available inventory section. There's 3,756 to be exact right now. And you can break it all down by preference. Price, vehicle condition, year, make, location, shipping, by the way. They do offer shipping, so you do not need to be in the Maryland or DMV area to work with Preston. If you're looking for specific locations, there you have it on the left-hand side right there. Aberdeen, Denton, Dover, Hurlock, Keller, Millsboro, which is brand new, Pittsville, Randallstown, Preston Ford West, which is my home dealership, Wilmington, Delaware, and there's a slew of other dealerships as well in all of those locations. I want to say continued thanks to Preston Automotive Group for the support. You can follow them on Instagram, by the way, at Preston Automotive Group. I'll drop that in. We're always doing giveaways and different opportunities with them. I dropped that in the live chat just now for you. Go take a look. And if you haven't already done so, drop them a follow if you could. Let's get to some updates, some important updates, some key updates when it comes to the Ravens' health situation. And that begins with second-year cornerback, former first-rounder Nate Wiggins and his foot injury. He exited during halftime. The second half, he was not available on Thursday night of Thanksgiving. And John Harbaugh was quoted earlier this afternoon for saying that he is day-to-day right now. We'll see where he's at on Wednesday. It's a big deal. I know the Steelers' wide receiver core doesn't exactly scare you, but this Ravens secondary, its DNA is different when Nate Wiggins is available. DK Metcalf leads the way in terms of receiving yards and targets, overwhelmingly leads the way for the Steelers. He's got 605 receiving yards on 45 receptions, 75 targets, and 5 touchdowns this year. The next closest to him is Pat Freiermuth at the tight end position. He's got 298 receiving yards, 32 targets, 26 receptions, and 4 touchdowns. Nate is nasty. Nate is fearless. He's got the makeup of what you want in a young cornerback. He takes his lumps. He still makes his fair share of mistakes as a young player in this league. But my God, his recovery speed is second to none. His ball skills are up there. What does he have? 3 of his 4 career interceptions, I believe, have come against the Cleveland Browns. Number 2 is here to stay, and he's stacking. Hopefully this day-to-day label means that he'll be limited somewhat this week in preparation for Pittsburgh. They'll need him out there coming up on Sunday. And if it's not Sunday, of course you need him against Cincinnati, because there's no telling that T. Higgins won't be available for another week. T. Higgins was in concussion protocol, in the 1-2 punch that is Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins was a soul punch. And I'm not saying that solo punch was nothing to, scoff at, or nothing to overlook, I should say. Jamar Chase is damn near, he brings you what 2 different players can do at once. But I would suspect that T. Higgins, barring something unforeseen, Chef Trez, count that in the pile, will be readily available in under 2 weeks from now when the Ravens and Bengals rematch. This time it's going to be in Cincinnati. So something to watch there as practice unfolds this week. And of course, we won't know more until Wednesday afternoon when the injury report comes out. As for Justice Hill, he's dealing with a 3 or 4 week neck injury. The door is open, as Jeff notes here, and John Harbaugh confirmed earlier this afternoon. The door is open for a potential return this year. But that means you're going to continue to see, I think, Rashan Ali. And remember, Rashan, a former 5th-round pick out of Marshall, actually outsnapped Derrick Henry. Why? I think Ken McCusick did a great breakdown on his Twitter, Film Study Ravens, friend of the show, on exactly that.
Hi, folks. Quick video about Rashan Ali, because we had a question about him come in from Section 523. Ken, how meaningful do you think the loss of Hill was from a pass protection standpoint? I wonder if it impacted Lamar's confidence and timing, especially against blitzes. Well, appreciate the question, and a lot of folks are questioning why Rashan Ali led all Ravens running backs in snaps, even more than Derrick Henry on Thursday night. A lot of that was game script related. Ali replaced Hill as the pass protection back, and of course the Ravens were forced to pass a lot on Thursday night. He also did outstanding in that role. He had 3 set blocks, and they were all good plays. A nice double block on 2 defensive backs on the right side. He stood up Miles Murphy on a play, and he took Geno Strone to the ground on another play. So really won all 3 of those. He had 5 other chip blocks, including a number of really hard contact to the rib cage, exactly what you want from a chip block from a running back. Appears to do that very well. I'll refer you to 3 plays. Q4 1309 is the stand-up of Murphy. Q4 1304, the pancake of Stone. And Q4 805 is a block on cornerback DJ Ivey and then Jordan Battle rushing off the offensive right side. Take a look at those if you want to see good pass blocking by a running back. I do expect to see much more of Ali for the rest of the season after this game, particularly with Hill out. But I think it could also impact the 2026 roster construction because Ali now has done well in a pass protection role. It's very limited so far in terms of the total snaps he's had, but if he continues this, he stands a good chance to improve his chance to make the team in 2026.
Ken McCusick, Film Study Ravens, show him a follow. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Rashan Ali. I know I can feel you scoffing. I can feel you side-eyeing, rolling your eyes, whatever you're doing through the screen. But if you are in the business of protecting your most valuable asset, your franchise quarterback, you're probably going to want the back that they trust the most in pass protection. And it sure seems like that is Rashan Ali over Keaton Mitchell. And I get it. I do get it. Harbaugh said that he played, quote, really well. And as Jeff noted here, beyond 1 run, which he thought he was tentative on, he does expect him to continue in that 3rd down back role. So I get it. You're probably thinking out there, the counter is, well, wait a second. What about Keaton's game-breaking speed? What about the way that he bounces to the outside? What about his cutting, his elusiveness, his explosiveness, and the 1-2 punch being the lightning to Derrick Henry's thunder. And I get it, but ultimately you are not going anywhere without protecting Lamar Jackson. I thought Ken did a good job of breaking down why Rashan is earning the role that he now has in front of him with no Justice Hill. We'll get to the guest lines in just a second. The waiting room is starting to pile up. Click on the link that I have pinned in my live chat right now if you want to share a thought with me on where the Ravens currently stand. And you see the poll, vote in it, coming up on 100 votes. How will the Ravens claim this year's AFC North crown is what I'm wondering. Go vote. 42%, all three phases unite, leads the way at the moment. You guys are feeling optimistic on this December 1st Monday. Speaking of pass protection, Emory Jones, Ravens rookie. John Harbaugh, of course, was asked about him. He logged 16 snaps in a rotation with Andrew Voorhees on Thursday night, which became his NFL debut. And Harbaugh was asked if the Ravens would consider rotating Emory at right guard, meaning with 77, everyone's favorite, Daniel Fa'alele. Harbaugh's response?
But it's hard to do. You know, and we've had that conversation. I mean, it's a good question. It's the same question that I asked and that we asked. How viable is that? But you take a rookie and put him on both sides, you compound the curve quite a bit.
On the other side of that, how did you see Voorhees respond to being in a rotation, and just what would you like to see from him to continue playing or to solidify that job a little bit more from his perspective?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a step between being a starter and being an established starter, kind of in the league. Kind of what you're talking about. And when you're a younger player, like Andrew or a lot of guys, you want to establish yourself as a starter, and I think he's in the process of doing that. He played good ball. He graded out highly. His numbers were good. Daniel graded out highly too. There's plays that both of them want back. There's plays that their line wants back too. I promise you. It's tough to play O-line in this league, but consistency really is the bottom line. Just to be as consistent as you can possibly be, and have as many really upside plays as you can. But most of all, as much as possible, and the interior offensive line is probably the toughest place to do it, is to minimize the negative plays as much as you can. And that's what we strive for. I think we've done a really good job of that over the years with our offensive line, and you keep trying to always build in that direction.
All right, there you have it. Emory Jones Jr. again made his NFL debut on Thursday night, 16 snaps at left guard. We will have Jason Smith on the vault tomorrow, by the way, for a specific analysis on Emory and how he graded out and whatnot. But it doesn't look like a right guard rotation is coming anytime soon, meaning Fa'alele will continue to be out there. And while his low lights are real, and those low lights are plentiful, there's plenty of them. Sure seems like, based on the way that PFF grades these players, the way the local community, meaning the film community within the Ravens Creator Network, grades them out and evaluates them. And ultimately, even what Jeff Zrebeck's noted a couple times, and that is the opposition, what he's heard, how they're kind of looked at in terms of some of the weaknesses, is that the weaker link is almost universally recognized as being Andrew Voorhees on the left-hand side. And it sure seems like that's maybe the reason why Emory is earning the opportunity and getting the chance to rotate on a limited basis here in the early going. We'll see what Sunday against the Steelers calls for in a rivalry game, but it sure seems like that is the sole reason why he's getting that opportunity right now. Quote, it's possible, is what John Harbaugh says in terms of a rotation at right guard as well, but it's hard to do. I don't doubt that it's not hard to do. I don't doubt that. We've had that conversation. It's the same question I asked. How viable is that? You take a rookie and put him on both sides, you kind of compound the curve quite a bit. I don't doubt that at all. This is technical stuff here. Technical stuff. And it's a rookie that's about to make not only he made his NFL debut on Thursday night, but now he's about to get baptized in the Ravens-Steelers rivalry. Not exactly an easy game to partake in. Guest lines are open. Let's do it. The waiting room is available. I appreciate you guys for being with me on this Monday. I hope you and yours had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. If you could, on the way in or out, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. And what I want to hear from you is, as you see in my poll, which now has over 100 votes, I want to know how you think the Ravens are going to claim this year's AFC North title crown. Will it be 1, an offensive resurgence, or 2, the defense carrying them into the postseason, 3, the process of elimination, based on how wide open and underwhelming this AFC North division is, or 4, all 3 phases uniting and lightning strikes in a bottle? What's it going to be? Let me know. The AFC playoff picture, you see it right here. It's wide open. But will the Ravens start to put things together, give themselves a chance to not only be more than a one-and-done team, but also punch their ticket, first and foremost, into the postseason? Maurice, you ready to roll, brother? Yet again, Maurice is not walking, which is highly concerning. When he's stationary, I do get worried. Only kidding. Welcome back to the program, my man. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, my Thanksgiving went pretty well. Well, outside of that Thursday night loss against the Bengals, but other than that, my Thanksgiving went pretty good for the most part. But I, realistically speaking, I see our defense carrying this team, especially through the Steelers game. So, like, my reason being behind that is because given that, we are an organization that pride themselves around having a stout defense, and that's always been a part of their identity for the last 30 years. And also, if you look at the Steelers offense, it's like the Steelers offense outside of, Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Steelers offense isn't really that good. And, if we get Nate Wiggins back during the Steelers game, or for the Steelers game, rather, it should be easier for us. And the AFC North is between 2 teams. It's wide open. And quick side note, it's like if you look at the last 63 meetings between the Steelers and the Ravens, the Steelers lead the series 36-27, and the total points scored between these 2 teams over the last 63 meetings, it is 1,258 points scored by the Steelers compared to the Ravens 1,232. So I just want to throw that out there. So a little bit of a history lesson, but that goes to show how important this rivalry game is. It dates back 30 years. It is considered one of the most fiercest rivalries, not only in the division, but in all of football. So it is very important that we do everything we must in effort to win this game. But I think the defense will bail us out. It's like we've seen this happen before, so I wouldn't be surprised if the defense would come through. So I still have hope.
Sounds like I know where you voted in the poll then. Good to see you, Maurice. Appreciate you. Guest lines are open. If you want to share a thought, vote in the poll and then come stand by your vote or come explain your vote. 3 Dashes is up next. And I'm saying 3 Dashes because my next guest does not have a name labeled. So who is 3 Dashes? And can you please show yourself on the screen? As he does, I know exactly who it is. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. The guest lines are open. And you see right now in my live chat, the poll that I would like you to vote in, over 110 votes and counting, how the Ravens going to claim this year's AFC North. Do you think? This is my positive spin because I've been told that I'm a negative Nelly. What about realistic Randy? Matter of fact, I was actually told today, quick side note here before I bring in Richard. You guys will appreciate this. A little look inside life in the DMs, okay? Liza writes me, Bobby is a talking head and doesn't even know football. He went to journalism school. He grew up in northern New York, so I guarantee he was a Bills fan as a kid. His attitude has made me quit watching the show unless Sarah is on. Sarah knows football. Bobby does not. Well, Liza, I appreciate that. Negative Nelly. That's just a brief look into what life is like in this space. Richard, where'd you vote in the poll, brother? Where are you at today? Good to see you, my man.
Hey, Bobby. I would say it's gonna be hard for me to be able to change my mind considering how we lost against the Bengals. So I mean, for me, I think it's probably more so going to be a process of elimination, unless within these next 5 games Lamar is able to get healthy. And honestly, Lamar needs to get comfortable too. It's not just healthy. I mean, he looked healthier in the Bengals game, but I mean, those plays are still bad. My gut is telling me that Pittsburgh's out. I think the division's really going to boil down to either the Bengals or the Ravens. And the reason why I say the Bengals is because they literally just got Joe Burrow back. And I mean, this year is not the year to take records in consideration. Against the NFC, that's been killed this year. The record against Joe Burrow, I mean, he just lost the second one. That's been gone. So, I mean, I would say maybe this is a positive spin on it. Femi said that, he expected equilibrium on this team. So he expected the team to get back to what it was the past couple of years. Perhaps it's a good thing that we're not seeing that yet, because if we're talking about equilibrium, that also means that we're going to be a one done team, because that's what it's been for the past couple of years. Perhaps, and maybe I'm being a little bit, cautiously optimistic. Maybe, they prove me wrong in the next couple of teams. We have another gauntlet. We have, I did not expect the Patriots to do good. They're now the number 1 seed. And so it's about time for the Ravens to go and put up a shut up and show what they can do. If they can win out for the next 5 games, there's nothing that this team can't do.
Richard, you want to know why I could buy the whole 2-team race if you put Pittsburgh aside, which you can't fully put them aside. They're 6-6. They've never had a losing season under Tomlin. Yes, they haven't won a postseason game since 2016. And yes, they have serious issues on both sides of the ball. But they're going to be there, and they're going to make it interesting. And it wouldn't surprise me if Week 18 ultimately is the deciding factor. But what's maybe most compelling about the Cincinnati scenario here is that they quite literally have nothing to lose. They've got a quarterback that just returned from rushing his ass back after the grade 3 turf toe procedure. You've got a defense that's been embarrassed. And if you looked at it the way that they in-game strategized on Thursday night, whether it was 4th down play calls, 3rd down calls, they were aggressive because they had absolutely nothing to lose. And if they continue to play like that, given this schedule that's in front of them, and I'm not saying it's a cakewalk, at Buffalo in December, you don't know what the weather elements are going to be. But that's also something that both teams have to handle, obviously. You then play the Ravens at your place. You've got the Dolphins, who, yes, are trending in the right direction offensively, but anything goes there. And then the Cardinals and Browns. Cleveland won't have anything to play for Week 18 aside from pride and playing spoiler. There is something compelling about this, but it could all come crashing down for Cincinnati this weekend in Buffalo. If they get past Buffalo, it's going to get really interesting.
One thing I would say about the reason why I'm sold off of the Steelers. So they play us. If Monken is not having his head up his ass and does what he's supposed to do and run the damn ball, we should win that game, considering what the Bills are able to do. Miami has Achane, he's a beast. And then the Lions, they got Gibbs, they got Jameson Williams, who's emerging. I don't see them stopping that either. And then the Browns, that's a better defense than it was the Bills. So I'm not really sold on Pittsburgh at this point.
Fair enough, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Later. Mike's 3 teams in the division might end up 9-8. Literally. I mean, that's a realistic scenario that ends up happening. And you know what that means. Divisional record will be everything if that ends up being the case, Mike. So these games are extremely important starting on Sunday for the Ravens. Extremely important. They're 2-1 so far in division. They've swept Cleveland, and of course they've dropped one to Cincinnati, and they'll see them again in less than 2 weeks at their place that time. You see the schedule right now. Be curious to watch Monday Night Football tonight, knowing that the Patriots will be coming to Baltimore in the next few weeks. What do the Patriots do against a Giants team that don't have a whole lot left to play for and just gutted their entire staff? Or I guess it was just technically Brian Dable. But you know what I mean. What's he all about? Jackson Dart will be back under center for them, I believe. The Jameis Winston experiment or stint was fun while Jackson was in concussion protocol. but it's time to put the rookie back out there to see what else he can prove in year number 1. And Afia, maybe you're right. The whole NFL season is just plain confusing. That's what happens when you get a ridiculous amount of parity, when you get a ridiculous amount of upsets on a weekly basis, and an AFC field, when it comes to the playoff picture, that is wide the hell open. Just look at this. Speaking of wide open, Bobby Baltimore Discord server is wide open for accepting, joining members. Parity. That's right, Mike. Parity. Discord access is being dropped into the live chat right now. It is free to join. It's a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports, and there are over 1,000 members and growing. What the hell's going on in here? Baltimore Goon and Romy Raven and Jabbo and Andrew, they're all mixing it up, having constant chatter, constant dialogue on all things football, whether it's Ravens related or anywhere else. You name it. That's not all that's discussed in here as well. Bobby After Dark can be active once dusk hits. Basketball across the board. Hockey season's underway. We talk Caps hockey from time to time. Orioles baseball. I saw that Brandon Hyde, former manager who was canned in season this year, I guess he was just brought in as a senior advisor right down the road from me. I'm in St. Pete. Now he's with the Tampa Bay Rays as a baseball ops senior advisor. Maryland Terps across the board. How brutal has that football season been for those of you that follow the local scene there? Anyway, when you do join as Reverend None Wisdom. I like that. That's our newest member as of just a few days ago. Who else is going to join in, become member number 1060? Any thoughts on the Lane Kiffin drama before I get on out of here? Is it more of a Lane issue or a college athletics calendar issue, knowing that signing day we're 48 hours out from? The portal is insane. NIL is insane. And ultimately, Lane Kiffin took what I'm sure is a dream job and left his team at the altar. Ole Miss is more than likely going to have a chance to play in the college football playoff for a chance to win the title, and their coach and perhaps several staff members won't be there. Instead, he gets an unbelievable opportunity to go to Baton Rouge, took Ole Miss to new heights over the last 6 years, and now because of the calendar and maybe Lane being Lane in a lot of ways, they're left with Pete Golden, their defensive coordinator, who was promoted to be the, I think, permanent. Was it permanent? Is that a permanent head coaching gig for him? Regardless, he's going to try and bring them to the national championship game, assuming that they make the playoff, which they better. I swear to God, if these kids are gypped of that, not only will they not have their head coach, but then they're gypped of a CFP opportunity, they better get their asses in there. I will be hot with the NCAA, and there are already a million reasons as to why we all should be hot when it comes to the competitive spirit of college athletics, which seemingly has been lost in a lot of ways. The integrity, the call it purity of college athletics has really been lost in recent years, by my estimation, based on NCAA regulations and decision-making. They better get into the playoff. But it's a hell of a story, the Lane Kiffin drama. And when you look at it from the lens of just a standard neutral college football fan, like a fan of sport, a fan of competition, I mean, it was absolutely electric to see everything that's taken place. He gets on his private jet, and you've got Ole Miss fans throwing up the double birds at him, cussing him out, going nuts on him. They're like, didn't they somehow get his wardrobe out? Did they burn that? And then all of a sudden he lands in Baton Rouge, and it's like a king's entrance, a red carpet entrance. It's absolutely fascinating to see what happens in college football. I'll be very curious to see how Ole Miss fares in the playoff. Richard hits me with a super chat, and he writes, I forgot to say the AFC is wide open. I was super high on Denver, and they damn near lost against a depleted Skins team. AFC rep will be who makes the greater mistakes. Oh, what do you mean by that? AFC rep will be who makes most mistakes. The AFC rep, the least mistakes. right? The least amount of mistakes, it will be the team that reps the AFC. Is that what you're saying? Anyway, guest lines are open. Over 400 concurrents on this Monday evening. Glad you guys can be with me. Please like the video if you haven't already done so. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. Jewel, what's going on, brother? How was your weekend? How was Thanksgiving? Right now, there's a poll up, and I'm going to get back to the guest lines. Over 130 votes are in right now. And right now, by 6 percentage points, all three phases unite, leads the way in terms of what will be the reason why the Ravens claim the AFC North. There's 4 options. All three phases unite, leading the way early here. Not early. We're an hour into the poll. Let me know where you're at. Jewel, welcome back to the program. Good to see you, my man. Where you at?
Hey, what's up, Bobby? It's good. I enjoyed my Thanksgiving. I told you that it was okay until obviously Thursday, but Thursday night. But I was voting in that poll, and I said obviously what the poll is leading the fourth choice, all three phases. But if I had to choose personally one, I would lean to the offense. Scoring points is going to really help the defense out. And considering how well the defense has been playing, and even into that game against Cincinnati, they held it to 12 points going into the halftime, and we still couldn't score touchdown. Granted, some of the touchdowns were called back through the stupid penalties, fumble, and just boneheaded plays, but. It's going to come down to whether or not this offense is going to finally wake up and figure out how to score points. If you can't score points, which they have failed to do, they're not going to win many games. I mean that's what it really comes down to: running the ball more, passing the ball less. For Monken, I mean, I feel like there's a disconnect between him and Harbaugh because we saw Harbaugh say, "Oh yeah, we wanted to get Derrick Henry some touches and all that." But what is Todd Monken going to say during the week? Is he going to say something different? Because I feel like there's a little bit of disconnect between those two. I don't know if you
We'll
noticed
wait
it.
and see on Thursday night, brother, or Thursday afternoon when coordinators get together at the podium. So
That's going to be interesting.
Appreciate you, man. Good seeing you.
All right, Bobby.
Guest line access is open. I want to know what will be the deciding factor for you to have confidence that the Ravens will claim the AFC North title in 5 weeks' time. What will it be? Julian just reminded me of something. If you're looking for a reason, several days removed from the Thanksgiving night game, to lean more into this defensive resurgence, here are a couple things to keep in mind that really had their backs against the wall on Thanksgiving night. Cincinnati possessed the football for 38 minutes and 46 seconds. The Ravens had it for 21 minutes and 14 seconds. That's almost 17-minute difference. That is insane. That is a lot to ask from your defense. Cincinnati ran 80 plays. Baltimore ran 57. I mean, need we say any more? That is asking a lot from Zach Orr's group. A lot. And then when you add in the 5 turnovers, it tells the full story. Go ahead and add in the OPI, the phantom OPI on Zay Flowers. It helps tell the story. So again, if you're looking for a reason for optimism, if you will, when it comes to Zach Orr's side of the ball, I rest my case on that. As far as the offensive side of the ball, I don't have a lot to work with other than what Sarah's leaning on heavily, and that is what Lamar's done in the past when it comes to his full body of work historically and what he's shown at times this year, and knowing that his stat line and the overall game from an offensive eval standpoint looks a lot different, if not for that OPI, if not for Devontae Walker not being able to come up with 2 of those 50-50 balls. And I shouldn't even say a 50-50 ball, but 2 of those bang-bang plays where Lamar delivered it on the money. If not for Isaiah Likely not securing that football and finding his way into the end zone. And I could go on and on and on. Looks a lot different. But I'm having a hard time, particularly given And it hasn't been the case in recent weeks over the last 2, but particularly given the lack of pass protection, particularly given some of the injuries that have really halted efficiency in the red zone, like not having Rashad Bateman, and so on and so forth. I'm having a harder time leaning into reasons for optimism on Todd Monken's side of the ball, given the state of where things are at right now and that uphill climb to try and get themselves back to full efficiency. What do you think? Rave, you with me? I'm sure you're going to have something to say today. John Harbaugh had some comments about the guard rotation and Emory Jones Jr.'s debut. We're looking forward to having on Jason Smith from Huddle It Up Films tomorrow for a full analysis. Rave, how was your weekend, brother? Good to see you.
How you doing? So,
what's going on?
I really hate that 60 seconds because I do want to talk to you soon about your dating
You always
life.
take more.
It's okay, but I know. I always wanted to talk to you about your dating life. By the way, I do want to help you out on that. But anyways, when it comes down to our division, I think we're going to make the playoffs. I think this is why you kind of shot yourself in the leg, but at the same time, you're speaking the truth. How you shot yourself in the leg? Well, you shot yourself in the leg because, are we going to make the playoffs? Probably we're going to scrape by. Why? Is because if you look at the Bengals, I don't care what people say, they're playing the Bills. There's a high chance they lose. And they're about to play us while having the record of 4-8. So their high chances of making the first in division and making a leap of bounds. No, I'm sorry. I can't see that. I'm not saying that they can't fight and still in the anyway. So I can't say why they're not in the situation, but and Steelers they're hanging with us, so they have more of an argument, right? The Steelers have more of an argument, but the Steelers has been very inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? And Aaron Rodgers, he's looking like he's really banged up going against us. So do we need to work on ourselves? There's no argument to that. But when it comes out to our possible chance of making the playoffs, yes. And that's why I feel you shot yourself in the shot with that. But you saying that we're still cooked, do we look like a deep playoff run team? No, we don't. That part is not going to change. We didn't fix the O-line. Zach Ort's scheme is still bad. Thank God we have Kyle Hamilton and Wiggins that are really, really good. And we still don't know what we want to do on offense. Do we want to run the ball? Do we want to use Keaton Mitchell? Do we want to use Derrick Henry? So, yeah, that's how I feel about that, Bobby.
Good seeing you, brother. Safe travels.
Right.
You're right. I may have to eat my words. when it's all said and done. But so far, so good. And I'm not saying I'm rooting for this. This was just my prediction well over a month ago when the Ravens dug themselves a hole. Certainly not knowing at the time that the AFC North would fold the way that it has. But I called it, and perhaps I was out in front of my skis when it comes to the Ravens being cooked on postseason contention. But as I noted in the days that followed that prediction, I thought that they would make it interesting. And they have indeed done that. It is very interesting. And they do control their own destiny. But quite frankly, you know what the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base, creator network, media are all saying as well? The same exact thing. And they are correct in that. Regardless of how Pittsburgh has performed. And my God, what have you done for me lately? It was brutal last night to watch them play the Bills and just get gashed in the running game. And Buffalo had both of its starting tackles down, and they still ran for 249 yards. But what they're saying in Steeler land is true. And that is the following. The same thing applies for the Ravens. They control their own destiny. Cincinnati, not so much, because they have to win out to give themselves a chance, you would think. Unless this division continues to fold. And like Herm Edwards said, you get in with 8 wins. I hope that's not the case. Because then this division's going to get dragged, and deservedly so. Because an 8-win team does not deserve to qualify for the postseason. But that's how it works within the structure of the way that seeding is ultimately divvied up and the respect that you have as a representative of your division. So we'll have to see. Richard throws in another super chat, and he says, respectfully, this is why I've disagreed with Sarah. The past does not matter. What does is what they do in the, what is it? An FTR in the future. Otherwise, it's a 1/2 and out in the playoffs. So you're going to give them 1/2, not one and done, 1/2 and done. Is that what you're saying there? A half and done. First I've heard of that. Appreciate you, Richard. And appreciate you guys for hanging out with me tonight. If you haven't already done so, would love for you to join the Bobby Baltimore Discord server, Would love for you to like this video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership, and that right there is just below 60 minutes of content for you. I am out. I'm going to watch this Monday night game, prepare in advance, well advance of this Patriots-Ravens matchup, which will be, week 16? Yes, week 16, 3 weeks from now. So we'll have a good look at what that might mean in a few weeks' time. And, of course, we'll get an early look at what the Patriots are at 10-2, trying to get to 11-2 with a win over the Giants on Monday Night Football coming up in a little over 2 hours' time. Appreciate you guys as always. Thanks to Preston Automotive Group for the continued support. Please scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner. It helps me out immensely. If you're not even interested in a new or pre-owned vehicle, I would love for you to just take the 10 seconds to scan that QR code. Go check them out. Follow them on Instagram. We do a lot of giveaways throughout the year. Congratulations to Sadesh, by the way, who won our $100 Fanatics gift card earlier today on the vault. Appreciate him. Appreciate Primary Residential Mortgage. Appreciate Preston Automotive Group, and appreciate all of you for spending some time with me tonight. Enjoy your evenings. Welcome to December football. I'll talk to you tomorrow.